Hello everybody, welcome back to yet another Liz Labs. I know, right? I was not expecting to do another Liz Labs, but it was brought to my attention that there was a video that I did that was only partially complete. Aside from the normal let's play around with zombies and punch them in the face and look for excuses to do so, I was also touching on the PvP aspect of 7 Days. There are a lot of people who enjoy the PvP aspect and some that don't. And yes, it is enjoyable as long as you're playing with your friends on a public server, not so much because the lag can cause problems, and of course, there's the usual like trolls and such as that. But if you were going to engage in PvP on your server, there are some things to remember. In that video, I covered all of the ideas to remember when considering a location, but what I didn't do was actually build an arena. So today we are going to try that. This is probably going to be a long build, but we're gonna try it. So what I've got right now is a 40 by 40 square. Now the reason that I'm doing this is, and I'm hoping, I'm just gonna keep my fingers crossed on this one. I am not making any guarantees that I will be able to figure out how to do this, but I am hoping at the end of this that I can export this as a POI for you guys to be able to import into your game and change according to the way you need it. Like I said, I'm going to talk to some people about being able to do that because I am not exactly sure myself how to do those things. I have watched tutorials and I usually get lost and do it wrong. So I will try yet again to figure that part out. But what I would recommend is, I did look it up, hang on. Let's see. What I've got this set for is a 40 by 40 base. There's going to be like a 10 by 10 prep room on each side. And then 10 extra blocks on the outside for the POI, so that would be a 60 by 60 plate, I guess you could say, for a POI. And let's actually get to the build and some of the things that we probably need to discuss. Okay, that is the whole bottom floor done. Now that's not like horribly bit exciting, but I will say this, whilst I was doing, this part of it, I can say without a doubt that attempting to build a POI of any sort, of any magnitude, or anything else like that is best done in the POI builder. There's a lot of resources that the base game does not have, sadly, like being able to place multiple blocks within a certain area. That ability is not moving to us in the base game. Even if you turn on debug menu and creative, we can't do that. But I am attempting to do this in a way in which you might be able to replicate in your base game. I would definitely recommend doing this in the highest level you wish for your blocks to be at the final thing. So maybe sketch your area out if you decide, instead of importing this particular POI, assuming I can actually figure out how to do that. I keep saying it like I'm actually going to be able to figure it out. I will see. If you're going to build this yourself, build it in the highest tier block that you wish for it to be in. Sketch it out with your frames, and then add in your full-on blocks. I would definitely not recommend having to do this and then going back in and upgrading, and I do recommend upgrading all the way to steel, because first off, you're probably going to have zombie spawns in world. Inside of this area, since these are all place blocks, you shouldn't have to worry about zombie spawns, but you will have zombie spawns outside. And if you decide you don't want the zombies to interfere with the POI stuff, you may have to turn zombie spawns off, and even then, inside a base game, if zombie spawns were on to begin with before you even started the world, you may still occasionally get zombie spawns, and you don't want them beating into the middle of it. But understand that in the base game, if you put a whole bunch of stuff inside here that's raising the heat map and a whole bunch of people shooting at each other, you're probably still going to eventually call in a screamer, who will eventually call in more. So yeah, I would definitely say build with higher grade blocks. Also, I would say this because if you don't do these blocks out of the highest level possible, later stages for the characters, like say the shotgun or whatever, they can one-shot a wooden block. So if you have people running around who have had a chance to level their characters and stuff like that, they may possibly tear apart your base for you. And I would also definitely recommend not allowing dynamite or explosives that harm it in any way and stuff like that. So yeah, besides, if you paint it and you're not fully upgraded and someone tries to come in here and make repairs and they accidentally upgrade it past the one that you had it in there to begin with, it will unpaint it for you. So keep that in mind. Now let's move on to the next step. Step 2, the working on the actual details instead of the filling in of stuff and things. Okay, that works for that. Okay, those are going to be the offshoots for the rooms. Now, the way that I'm building this, I'm actually building it as if I intend to put an upstairs and a downstairs on this. This is actually a choice in how you decide you want to build this, but a 50 by 50, which is ultimately what the size of the building will wind up being, because as soon as I build in the team rooms, I will probably use part of the extra side bits as additional places for the characters to go and hide and things like that. But let's start with those. So 40 by 40, I need 5 on each side. Let's go 2 away. That is the next step done. Basically, those are all of the rooms where your each individual team will be. Now, from here, we can get a little bit more complicated. Do you want to go up or do you want to go down? Do you want to do both? I am thinking having areas where people can learn, not necessarily learn. Let me rephrase this. Basically, say I make an underground portion that gives people the ability to get in behind people's flanks. First off, they're going to have to know where the entrances are. And if you have, like, say, the person who is in charge, who is doing the stuff and things, that is setting all this stuff up, technically they could go in and quickly change where the entrances to the underground layers are. So, let's contemplate that for a moment, shall we? Let's figure out where we want our underground to be before we go doing anything else. Say we want... Let's see... How many entrances? The caves probably need to be relatively small. What if a skirmish breaks out? Yeah. If we were to do that... And then... There. Just some random places for the other ones. Just to be on the safe side, give them a place to, like, maybe they don't know that the path is there. Whoever's on that team, whoever spends more time in that corner, they're going to know that that underground path is there. The others, on the other hand, may not. So... may do that. We'll figure out how far down we're going to go later on. Not much worried about that as long as we've already got that planned out. We'll probably put in some underground supports towards the center just to be sure that whatever we make underground is going to make sense and not collapse. Let's move on to the upper floors, which doesn't necessarily have to be as large as the bottom floors. Layer. Now, I would say this would be a good layer to try and put something like an intermediary layer in here in case you're having like say you're doing a one-shot, one-kill kind of run. Basically, after your character dies, they are no longer in it. They don't respawn back into the game. It's a last man standing kind of situation. Having the top part as like a glass where the other players can be on top of it and observing what is going on, who's winning, that kind of thing, would be an awesome idea, except the fact that the glass inside this game is kind of FPS intensive. Lydia, you don't have to be right there. So, I think with the next alpha, this layer right here would probably be a good area to put some sort of observation area. Plus, if you have someone maybe who's just capturing the whole thing to show later on, if you have the last man standing, or if you just want the ability to, say, have people who are just watching the games and not actually participating in said games. Okay, I'm also going to try and leave this area open. There's definitely going to be like, hey, this is the confines of the build, stay in here, but we're going to leave it open in case you have people who are doing like videos of your runs, if you have people standing outside who are not actually a part of it, or whatever, they can actually see what's going on. Now what I'm going to do is, since these are our areas where our champions, I guess we could call them, are going to be sitting, I'm putting in some storage for like whatever the beginning artillery is. Are you going to start with, for your PvP section, are you going to start with, say, first round, maybe you just do fists or melee weapons or something like that. Next round you do guns and stuff like that. In which case, these are going to be the good containers in order to set all of that stuff up in. And maybe we do something like, hang on, Lydia, where are you at? Maybe we do, I don't think a cement mixer is going to be needed unless you want to have like a base somewhere here where you store everything for the repairs of the situation. But a workbench, in case you decide to do random loot, because you can put in random loot for them to find, to upgrade their stuff, to do stuff and things with, so I would definitely, even if it's just for the aesthetic of it, I would put a workbench in each area. Maybe they know how to make a mod. Maybe they want to make a mod for somebody else. Who knows? There we go, and we could probably do... We could probably do that, and what? You could do flags for each side, though I really wish there was another color. We've only got 3, I've got 4 spots. Okay, we've got that. I'm not going to worry about the aesthetic right now, we'll do that at the end. Let's move on to the next location. So how do we do the next floor without making it where if anybody is observing the top, that they're going to have issues? Let's do... First off, we would probably center it. Now, there's a couple of different ways we can go with this top floor. We can attempt to make it something like a parkour area, that way if people want to get like an upper level to where they can see, they're going to have to come out of hiding first off, because there's going to be a few more blinds that are around this main area. But if they go up here, they're going to have the strategic advantage of being able to see over the blinds, but it also means that they're going to be able to be seen from further away. So we can make it parkourish, or we can make it solid and have people trying to get up towards the top, so you could do like a king of the hill type of situation. So in which case this type of base is a pretty good size, and then make each floor progressively smaller. So which way do we want this? Do we want it to be more parkour geared? Do we want it to be more king of the hill? Do we wish to have, I don't know, like a bottom floor for people to hide and a top floor for people to hide, and then maybe a parkour or something like that? How tall do we want this thing to be? I'm gonna say no more than 3 floors. 3 floors is more than enough, more than adequate space for people if you have full teams. Now if it's one-on-one, this is probably gonna be a bit on the bigger side. So let's go 1, 2, 3. So this floor may be half the size-ish of the other floor. But maybe make it to where there's gaps and stuff like that so people can move from one floor to the other floor if they want to like jump down a path to the previous floor, or if they get knocked down and fall. Could make things interesting. So let's go in... Now, what we could do is kind of like a propeller type of thing and cut out this section and that section. And then on the top, have it alternate where it's got that section, and on the bottom, it's got the other section. Aesthetically, that could be pretty interesting, right? So, which way do we want to do that, though? Okay, if you're running in from here, hang on. Let's go down to the ground floor and actually see what this is like right now. Okay, we run in here. There's going to be blinds and stuff set up all over the place. We're going to fix that stuff later. Lydia, what are we doing here? Are we dancing? Let's dance. Okay, say we come to this side. If we offset it like propellers, like this, so that one side is higher than the other side, so it looks like they're propellers, then that means people on the ground floor could possibly go from one side or the other side and pick people off. And people on the lower levels have that option as well. I don't know exactly how it will turn out, but I'm kind of interested to see how this turns out, so let's do that. We'll take this right here. 2, 3, 4, 5. Blah. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And we'll build up this side. Okay, so this ground floor is going to have this. This floor is going to have this. So what we don't need are these. Or if we leave those in, I might turn them into decorative blocks that just kind of people can attempt to walk across them, but they're not actually full-on propeller. Okay, now then, in order to give this the proper feel, I want to take these sides out and put in something that feels more decorative and a little bit more dangerous to try and cross for the players. So they can still use it, it's just extremely dangerous to try and use it. What would be something that we could use for that? What if we did something like this? Yeah. Take these out. Okay, now then. How will people here arrive at the secondary location? We can put them on the outside, we can put them on the inside. How do we want to make it where they can advance into new levels? Do we use ladders? Do we use stairs? We could probably do stairs on the outsides over here. There we go. We've got 2 stairwells up. Okay, then here, we will likely need a solid floor. Okay, now, to get up to this side, since I have these extra little pathways, this would be great for a ladder. Okay, now there's our basic design. We've got stairs going up to the 2nd floor, ladders going up to the 3rd floor, and there's a chance you could also do it other ways, like maybe along these sides right here, give people a path if they can parkour. They could do like step paths like this or something like that. The only issue is I'm not exactly sure what you would have to do in order to make I think it would have to be a 3 wide in order for that to work to get them a path all the way up to the top. So I'm not sure that I would want to do that, just because I feel like work your way to the center, plus there's going to be a basement area. This is plenty of pathing ability here. So now where do we go? Do we go ahead and do the underground part, though? Hang on, let's get in the other bits here first. We can take these. Okay, I think that works. At least for now, I think this outside area is fine. Let's go ahead and start working on, like, the basement situation. And I'm essentially going to just try and turn that into, say, a pathing where people can sneak from one side of the build to the other side of the build without being noticed as much. So there are going to be some peeky spots from this floor into the next floor to ensure that it's not a let's go hide in there and avoid PvP. It's definitely going to be the let's try and run through here as fast as possible because we might get spotted. 4, 5, 6 for the floor. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6 for the floor. Okay, alright. I think that section's done. We probably just need to add in some stairs, fix up a couple of spots where I accidentally shot too far. Just so if we manage to bring this into a world, it doesn't collapse itself. Make sure I button up everything. Yeah, it looks okay. Okay, that took a little bit, but we managed to get the downstairs area taken care of. I just need to put in some... I think Lydia has them. Lydia, are you stuck underneath the ground? Probably? Let me give her a second to show back up. There you are!
All systems go. How may I help?
Hey, I got these. I kind of want to use these just because I'm pretty sure these can only be found in the... inside the creative menu. And they look really cool and are fun to use, so if you're designing your own, I would definitely say make it in the creative menu, or if you're in like a survival thing, ask the admin to spawn in like a couple of items that you can use just for decoration purposes, because this is really going to be what makes it look really, really good, is the ability to decorate. So let's get on that, shall we? Okay. Alright, now after all of that... Okay, I have been showing it, but let's actually walk through it as if we're going through this thing. Here, let's even put a gun in our hand, Lydia. Let's see how it looks. It's nice and confined. There's a couple of different ways to go, so you can be down here listening to see whether or not there's any bad guys. As soon as we get to the decoration phase of this will probably be a little bit, you know, better looking. And of course, that also makes a lot of noise to make it a little bit easier for you to hear whether or not it's happening. Now, as far as the base goes, is this all I want to do? Do we want to go one higher up? I don't know that we do unless we were intentionally doing a King of the Hill, because I feel like at a King of the Hill, either the... whatever it is you're King of the Hilling with, like in ours we used a chair, it would go right there, or one level higher. And it would go right there. So... I kind of like having these. These would be good spots for having, like, spotlights or something. So I think that's probably what we're going to do, is we're going to stick some spotlights here. So I think that's pretty good. Now, let's get into the second part, which is creating the blinds. The blinds are basically places where characters can go to, like... It's basically what it's called. A blind is... what stops other people from seeing them. It gives them a chance to reload, a chance to dunk out a fire so they can heal up, and things like that. So we need to create some special locations like that. Mainly whenever they come out of these areas, we don't immediately want everybody in our group to see whoever it is. So, now, do we do full blocks for these, or do we keep it kind of open and feeling free-ish? Let's do these. Hold on. Let's do those, but let's do it centered. And I'm gonna say do 4 high because people with parkour skills can possibly jump that. So let's do this on each side. Oh. Alright, the blinds from the entranceway, basically each one of your teams are gonna start off inside one of these rooms, and when they come out, this is gonna be their first thing, their way of getting into the fight. So how do we make this a little bit better? Is possibly establishing a blind around these, so these aren't so easy to see. Let's do we angle them away from people's? We don't want them to see. I don't want them to see this immediately after coming into this area. Okay, there we go. We immediately have like a spot. Let's make it a little bit more claustrophobic. There we go. Let's go ahead and cover those. Like that. Okay, how are we looking? Still pretty open. Now, some of these hiding spots I'm actually going to change from steel over to other materials just so it looks a little bit more aesthetically pleasing, but there will be blurge, because I can speak words. There are going to be a couple more blinds that are made out of these. Okay, now, I'm doing this just to texture up this inside corner here. I don't want people hugging the center column and shooting each other the whole day. So let's texture it up a little bit and give them places to hide, but they have to move in order to fire. A couple of spots where they have to... Let's see, let's have this on the other side here. Okay, this area is pretty open still. Now, where else do we do things? We could possibly put, like, spots where you can see through, but you can't necessarily get through. Hold on. Which way did I do this? Let's do this with... Hang on. Let's do that with these. Oh, not even. Gotcha. Okay. How's this looking? It's looking okay. Now, mind you, we still have to leave room for decoration. That's the reason we're not filling this thing in completely. Let's do this one. Build up a wall right there. That is the non-stair side. Yeah, 3 high. Go with that. Spots where people can stand and they can try and like peer over and stuff, or have to jump over obstacles in order to get to other areas, thereby making themselves obvious, you know? Okay, now how does this look from way down here, though? Ow. Okay, if you're running from here to here, yeah, those are some very serious points you have up there. Which, I mean, I guess you could get to here. That gives you a little bit. But we're going to have some sandbags and other things that are just sitting around for people to use to try and scale things. If they've got really good parkour skills, they'll easily be able to get up here. Okay, and then the same thing is going to happen here. Okay, that works. Now, do I do that here? What if I give some places for people to do some dumb things, like, I don't know, pillars leading out to the corners and the sides to give people the option to do, like, parkour business out here along the corners? I don't know if I want to do that or not. Do I do that? Or do I just do something like... Oh, I see. There is actually... We're approaching weight limit on some of these upper floors, so... Oh, you seem fine. You are not fine over here, though. Nope, you are not fine. I should not have done that. I should not have tested the game and its wisdom on whether or not I should build right there. Holy hell! Okay, well, let me fix that. Lydia, why you let me do that? Okay, now that makes me wonder, is this back area? Yes, it is. Okay, so let me take some of the pressure off here. If I could do... let's do this. Like that. That gives some more stability to this up here, right? Yeah. And it makes it look a little bit different along the side on these sides. I'm kind of glad I figured that out before, you know, I attempted to help people port this into their own stuff, because all it takes is someone readjusting, like, a part of the build because they want to change something, and then collapsing the whole thing, and that would just be frustrating for people to do. Okay, in that case, let me also do this, just because it'll look better. Okay, that works. Now then, do we need anything else? Do I feel like this could possibly work? Do I want to give people the chance to climb these poles? Do I want to add in, anything else? I have no idea. See, this is the reason why I really didn't build a base per se last time, is there are so many different ways you could go with this that it just depends on what you want each individual person to be able to do. You have to think of it from your perspective as a builder and their perspective as somebody who's coming out of one of these rooms. Say, if I start here, when I first come out, if I'm here, what's the first thing that I'm going to do? I'm going to look left and I'm going to look right. Do we want to section it to where they only have to look in one direction and have it like circular, like put one here so they all have to come out over here? But then again, all of the other sections know that they only have one direction, so they all have to look one way. You could put in doors, you could put in timer doors or whatever, that way you can open up everybody's door at the exact same time by activating the power. Just walking around. How does it feel? It looks pretty well cluttered. This would be good for a small group or a four-way split, you know? Then you got here, and you get up above, you can look down. I don't think there's a whole lot of cover from people from looking down. That might not be the best of things, but then you've got this area, and you can come up here and hunt down on there. So if they're not paying attention, they can fall into one of these areas. And we probably should make it where that exit right there cannot be seen from this top. I just noticed that. This area should not be able to be sniped from the top location. Okay, now we're at the point where I'm starting to do a little bit of decoration, but I'm noticing a couple of things as I'm walking around placing stuff down. There's a huge view of what's going on in there from both directions, and we don't want anybody that's in there shooting into here or vice versa. So these sides need to be closed up a bit. I was really hoping to keep the walls open, but if we're going to allow people to be able to spend time in there, get their stuff sorted, maybe repair their items, these areas need to be closed off. Only because whoop, 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 I did not mean to do that. I would love to be able to use, like, well, hell, I would like to use bulletproof glass or something, but the glass right now seems to cause issues. So rather than using glass and causing FPS, should this, get spawned into someone's base or something like that, see here, right here. Rather than using those and allowing people to just like annihilate each other inside their hiding spots, and the possibility of using bulletproof glass and still spying on each other. Am I okay with this though? Okay, we've sealed in all of the rooms. Yeah, so that they should be able to get in here and maybe stare outside and think of the day when they didn't die so much or whatever. But we've got that. Now the only issue I see is maybe this, if we have somebody who's just like camping. Like say you got a camper right here and they're hitting people as they're coming in right here. There's no cover. Just in case they step outside and they just like immediately get shot, they're like, oh, okay, maybe I should have reloaded or something. Okay, alright, now let's walk the grounds again. I probably should actually make a place where people can get inside the build. That's probably a good idea. Okay, if this was my base, first off, yeah, a place to put the bedroll would be a good idea inside the home area. Did I leave enough room to do that, though? Say we do it here. Okay. Now, let me go in there and get rid of all of the stuff and things. Okay, basically, I just made it a smallish room. Let's just peel back the rock and show you what I did. Okie dokie. Now, what I did was I set this up as if I was playing in a server. The reason being is because typically whenever you come into an arena situation, people are carrying their own gear, and you may or may not want to initiate certain levels with certain types of gears. In which case, the people can come down here, claim a bedroll out of, one of the containers or whatever, just set a container down, poke a hole in the wall, set another container in, whatever you gotta do. Then you have, like, okay, claim a box, put all of your stuff in it. Your bike, your armor, your weapons, your ammo, your food, everything that you brought with you, and leave it inside these things and lock it yourself. That way you can unlock it. Actually, in this case, you would probably have to bust it out and put in your own boxes, and that's fine. In which case, just inside each box, leave a storage box for people to take out, bust out, and then claim a new one. And then in the new one, you could have, like, if you wanted to do, let's see, signs. Say you were doing rounds. You could do, like, round 1. Okay? For each one of your sessions, like however long that's going to be, 30 minutes to an hour, however many deaths they have, or whatever during a certain amount of section, but for round 1, it's melee weapons, or something like that. So, inside this top one up here, you stick all of the stuff that they would possibly need to do that round. Their armor, their mods, their weapons, their whatever. And then down here you would put in the round 2 and round 3, and it just depends on how many people you have down here. You could easily take these things out and put them on this wall. So if you had rounds and you had 4 people, you would have 1, 2, 3, 4. It would actually be centered here with your signs along the side, and that would work too. So either way you want to do this, you would put your bedrolls down here. As a matter of fact, let me stick a bedroll in as kind of a here's where bedrolls go kind of situation. There we go. Now up here, I would probably say campfire. Not that a whole lot of people would probably be sitting in here cooking a whole bunch of food because, I mean, it's a PvP, so people are going to die, things are going to get broken, stuff like that. I doubt very seriously people are going to be needing to eat, but it just depends on which way you decide to play. Put that up there. Okay, so now it looks nice and decorated. These are just like drop-offs, ammo things, a lot of storage crates for however you decide you want to play this. I can tell you 1 round of torches only would be absolutely freaking hilarious. It'd be just a whole bunch of people beating each other and setting each other on fire. If you're that kind of person. And then, let's see. Right here, okay, hold on. I want to use this kind, actually. That. There we go. Alright, now I'm just gonna go around and I'm gonna do this to the rest of them, which of course will take a while. Okay, we're finally back at the beginning. Alright. So, are we at the painting phase, or... We might be at the painting phase. Okay, painting phase. I do kind of want to put one of these on top of these two. Okay, you know, just to keep people on their toes, we should probably put a couple of those in there. We don't want anybody getting sleepy while they're playing, you know? I'm not saying that they would, but, you know, just in case. You know, because there might be dead bodies or something like that, in which case, you know, there's gonna be smells. You know, just mess people up a little bit with some different textures and everything, because they might be playing into the evening, in which case some of these things might become unuseful and can distract somebody long enough to have gotten away. What about... See, I haven't really considered seating because there's really no good place for them to sit. They would have to fly outside. But, you know, and of course, there's no sitting in the game anyway, so... Put the seats right here next to the light. Just a few mannequins to kind of get through that feeling that somebody is watching you. Okie dokie. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we are finally done making a PvP arena. It has taken some hours to get this far. I have been working non-stop for like several hours. It's actually been pretty fun. Alright, let's do like a final look through. Pay no attention to that. I need to fix that. Okie dokie. We get in this way. We have got 4 main areas. North, south, east, and west for 4 different teams. They can be teams of 4 up to 6, and as low as 1 person on each team, so it gives them all a setup area. Let's go take a sneak peek. You do have to come in from these ladders on the outsides, and the ladders and everything else in here, aside from a few small, insignificant, detailed things, everything in here is titanium, just to make sure that if people start shooting, they're not knocking out blocks and stuff. Plus, if you happen to incur the wrath of other zombies from outside, if you're playing in a server, they have a chance of actually coming into the thing with you instead of beating on the walls and breaking it. So be aware of that. We have a way out on each side here. I don't know if I want to paint those or if I'm going to leave them, so I'm going to wait just a minute. This is what a basic area looks like. We have a empty destroyed workbench. We have a workbench and a fireplace. We got some stuff for people to put their, reading or whatever you want. A couple of containers here for basic items, food, water, whatever they're going to need during the thing. Plus, there's also a backup area below each one of these locations. There we go. Underneath each one of these locations to put a bedroll, plus to have different loadouts or a place to put their stuff and things before they go into the arena. Say you want to do an arena that has like a different theme for each round. We've got a spot where you can set out, for this round do these things, for this round do these things, for this round do these things, and pick yourself a box, put all of your other stuff in there, cleaning your vehicles, because vehicles laying out in world cause lag. Put away your vehicles, save somebody some frames, and then don whatever the attire is. Now, these, if I can get this POI to other people, which I hope to do, I would definitely recommend going through and breaking all of the boxes and refitting them, because they're obviously not going to be the proper boxes anymore. Plus, if you want to be able to lock your own stuff up into a container, you have to lay down the box. So instead, break out the boxes, put in new boxes, and put a small storage box that has people's bedrolls in the boxes so they can lay down the box and lock it themselves. And that will take care of it. But that's on each side. So each side has got a box of sleeping rolls and a box of boxes and a box to put all their stuff and things in. So those are just placeholders to put your own boxes and stuff. The workbenches are basically if they're kind of a placeholder depending on how you want to do your run specifically. If you want to, inside this POI, if you know ahead of time you're going to be using it, you can put in boxes of loot for people to go and get each round. Like, you stick the boxes up here and allow them to go in there, in which case they would gather loot during their runs. In between each run, they could come back and craft whatever they can craft with whatever the stuff they found, or build upgrades to what they currently have. Just depending on how you want to do it, I figured the workbench was probably a good idea. There's enough room for all of the workbenches to fit in here, really, either here or down below, either one. And then we have got several different locations for people to hide behind, like a sneaky spot here, so you can shoot up top, go around here, someone starts shooting at you, you're over here, maybe you come over here, you step up here, and they're not expecting you to be down here, they're expecting you to be over here, so you step up here and you're shooting. I would definitely recommend putting doors and timers or doors connected to a switch to allow people to come out at the same time, because as of right now, the doors are kind of open, and if you import this into your game, you're going to have to put your own doors on it anyway, so there's no sense in wasting it, but the boxes are there, because they need to be, so you'll know what to put there. And then, we have got the second story. Up here, we've got a couple of places for you to look down on unsuspecting peoples, and you've got places where you yourself could accidentally fall, or people could shoot up through, plus there's some hidey spots here as well. And it's the same on both sides. You see that? For like a split second, you get to see that. Here, let me go back around. Woohoo! Okay, same thing over here. Places to come up. There's only two entrances up to this floor. There's ways of, if you get into a skirmish here, you could fall down here, fall down there. Plus, there's a way of getting up to this top floor, which, if you're doing like a King of the Hill type of situation... Oh, I never painted these. Hold on. If you get into like a King of the Hill type of situation, Then this up here is probably the last level everybody will get to. I would definitely recommend going up one more level for a King of the Hill. If you don't know what that is, it's basically like, not the last man standing, because the last man standing would be like a battle royale, everybody's after everybody, that kind of thing. It would be more of um, how much longer this person can hold this particular spot, as opposed to everybody else. So you basically fight over one position. I would definitely build up one higher than this area. Um, this is not necessarily a King of the Hill type of thing, but you could put it as a King of the Hill, maybe put a chair that they have to sit on or something like that. There are some viewing locations over here along the sides, but of course our characters can't sit down, so there's really no point in having legitimate seats. You could definitely add extra stuff if you bring this into the POI or bring this into your map as a POI. You can definitely build up stadiums on the outside, but to protect people that are getting respawned in or whatever, I had to block up the walls. Should it ever get to where the bulletproof glass isn't such a big deal, it wouldn't be a bad idea to open up the walls and allow a little bit more light for the bottom layer to come in. Also, there is an underground area. Use at your own risk because, oh my gosh, is it confusing down here? And it's very tight quarters. I'm going to finish painting this in just a minute. But I've recorded for close to 5 hours, so we're going to go ahead and cut it and leave just a little bit for people to be surprised by. This downstairs area is basically a sneaky way to get from one side of this to the other side, but at the cost of possibly getting stuck inside a tunnel and having to fight it out. Now, I would be careful if you're using this area because, as you can see, it's stone and stuff. And while I do have the central column supported really far down, and you shouldn't have to worry about that one, some of these other walls could collapse if people get down here and like explode each other. So that is a word of warning. So that's it. It's a 4-layer PvP arena. Some of the choices that I made, you could add sandbags to it, but the sandbags, in my opinion, kind of, they're cool, but at the same time, not. I prefer to go with the whole colorful aesthetic, almost like you're doing a paintball thing. Plus, it keeps people from being able to wear one color inside this and not have a background that they're standing against where they can't be seen. There is definitely some high contrast colors and stuff like that going on for everybody's use. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to call that build here. I will try to get that uploaded, and as soon as this video goes live, I'll try to have the information on how you can download it and play it for yourself. And hopefully links to someone's video to teach you how to put it inside your POI list, because as of right this second, I don't actually know. But I want to thank you so much for asking me to build this. Well, not necessarily asking, but being disappointed that I hadn't already done it. And that prompted me to go ahead and do it. So I will see you next time. You guys have a wonderful day, a wonderful night, and you stay shiny. Bye!